are you? Welcome back to my channel. So excited you're here because we're talking about my fall TBR. Yeah, mostly I'm working with what I have already, not really spending money this year, can't go out and just buy a bunch of stuff. There are a couple that are coming out this fall that I'm hoping to get my hands on, but mostly I'm just working with books that I already have. And I think they all have fall vibes. I think they're all gonna work for, that crispy, spooky, some sort of cozy fall vibes. The first one is coming out September 9th, and that is Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. This is horror. I haven't read it yet, and I've heard it is spooky. It does have the spooky vibes to it, and I freaking love Rachel Harrison. She's one of my top horror authors, my top favorite horror authors. I've loved everything she's ever written, so of course, as soon as this comes out, I have to find a way to get it. This is about a woman who kind of has to confront her childhood demons because she is fixing up her childhood home, which is haunted. Not just haunted, but it's possessed, supposedly. Like her mother always thought it was possessed, but nobody really believed her. Her mom even wrote a book about it. This was a whole thing because the house is occupied by a demon, supposedly. Or like Cleo's mother, that's what Cleo's mother thought. And to the point that Cleo's mom lost custody of her and her sisters when they were kids because everyone thought that she was like losing her marbles. And like I said, her mom had wrote a book about it and everything else. And fast forward, her mom has died unexpectedly, and she has left the house to Cleo and her sisters. And her sisters, they have all this trauma about the house. They remember all these things. And Cleo, all she sees is like opportunity. She sees this opportunity to flip the house and make content out of it because she's an influencer. So all these things start to unravel. She reads her mom's book and she starts to I guess remember things from her past and all these things, and she starts to realize that maybe there was a little something to this. So anyways, reviews are really good so far. It's got a 4.35 so far, 332 ratings. But yeah, people are saying really good things about it. People are saying that it's nice and spooky. It's haunted house story and dysfunctional family drama and all that. So yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. And usually Rachel Harrison's books, they usually are spooky, but then they also are that playful writing style and that fun and that sense of humor as well. And that's why I love her books. I think they're a lot of fun. Next one comes out October 28th, so right before Halloween, and it's called Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews. And I love this cover. It's so haunting. It's super creepy. And this one, I don't know much about this one. I just know that this is about, this contains botanical body horror, which, yes, I'm all about it. It says, Evander has lived with a ghost in the forgotten corners of the Hazelthorn estate ever since he was taken in by his reclusive billionaire guardian, Byron Lennox Hall, when he was a child. For his safety, Evander has been given 3 ironclad rules to follow. He can never leave the estate, he can never go into the gardens, and most importantly, he can never again be left alone with Byron's charming, underachieving grandson, Laurie. That last rule has been in place ever since Laurie tried to kill Evander 7 years ago, and yet somehow Evander is still obsessed with him. When Byron suddenly dies, Evander inherits Hazelthorn's immense Gothic mansion and acres of sprawling grounds, along with the entirety of the Lennox Hall family's vast wealth. But Evander's sure his guardian was murdered, and Laurie may be the only one who can help him find the killer before they come for Evander next. Perhaps even more concerning is how the overgrown garden is refusing to stay behind its walls, slipping its vines and spores deeper into the house with each passing day. As the family's dark secrets unravel alongside the growing horror of their terribly alive, bloodthirsty garden, Evander needs to find out what he's really inheriting before the garden demands to be fed once more. It sounds nice and gothic and spooky, and it just sounds excellent. The Mary Shelley Club by Goldy Moldavsky. I'm probably really butchering that. I believe this is YA. This is about this girl, Rachel is the main character, and she is really into horror movies. But she finds herself part of this Mary Shelley Club. They're like a secret society, or a society, I don't know if it's a secret society, but it's a society of students. And they put together these elaborate pranks. And these pranks are known as fear tests. And these fear tests are inspired by like urban legends or like movie tropes. And I guess these pranks, they go a little far. They get more and more out of hand as it goes on. It says when someone begins targeting the club itself, Rachel has to track down the killer, even if it means finally confronting the dark secrets from her past. This is supposed to be, yeah, it's supposed to be like dark, but it's also supposed to be kind of funny as well. And this has been on my shelf for like a couple of years at this point. And I've just been waiting there. The Insatiable Vault Sisters. This one is by Rachel Eve Moulton. This has been on my shelf for a while as well, and I keep meaning to read it. Look at the cover. It's so cool. We have like the mermaid tails. It looks really excellent. And this one takes place on an island, by the way. But this is more like a fall vibes kind of island. It says, it's the summer of 1989 and Beatrice and Henrietta Volt are coming of age on remote Fowler Island, their ancestral home and wild playground. Thicker than thieves, the sisters have no idea that their parents are separating or that the plan is to separate them. 10 years later, Henry gets a desperate call from her now estranged sister. Their father has died and she needs to come home. But Henry doesn't want to go back. She barely remembers anything about the island, and those murky memories fill her with an inexplicable dread. The icy water of the quarry pond, the house looming over her, but Henry can't resist her sister's call. She never could. The Insatiable Vault Sisters explores inherited trauma and the siren call of monsters, real and imagined. Yes. But yeah, I've heard this has fall vibes, and I've even heard this is really great to read around Halloween. I'm not sure why. I don't know where the Halloween comes in at, but yeah, I've heard this is a really great fall read. I just talked about this one, so I'm not going to get into it. If you missed my video last week, this was in it. It was a tag video of 10 books that have been on my shelf for way too long. And this is The Prettiest Girl in the Grave by Kristopher Triana. This is going to be more extreme horror, so this is definitely going to be dark and disturbing. And it involves this really dark game involving a cemetery. Next up is Mina, and it is by Carrie Curley. And I'm probably messing up that name. This is the like the sequel to the Dracula story, and it's supposed to be really great. It's supposed to be gothic and dark, but then it's also supposed to be sort of romance as well, and that like sexy, dark, gothic, luscious romance as well. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I've heard really good things about it. And anything that involves Dracula or involves vampires in general, I'm gonna read it. So I actually forgot I even owned that one. That's another one recently that I was like, oh yeah, I do own that one. Next, this is one that I got from Twisted Retreat forever ago, and it is called Hiding Lies by Stephanie Rose. And this one just looks like fall to me. Look at the edges. We have leaves, fall leaves. We have Polaroid pictures. I've seen how disturbing the cover is. Some of these are pretty messed up. So the art, and then we have, I'll just give you the whole tour. Might as well. So this is what that looks like. And then we have, this is what the naked book looks like without the cover. So yeah, I think it looks very fall to me. Oh, and here's the other art on the other side. So yeah, does that not look like fall? It looks like fall. It says Lydia Walker is a forensic photographer. Trudging through life in the shadow of her traumatic past, when she is assigned a case centered around the gruesome murder of a camping couple, her personal life begins to improve after a chance encounter that makes her feel like she's finally connected with someone, a fellow tortured soul named Adam. As more victims are unearthed, she discovers she has a personal connection to the case. Her commitment to the case grows deeper, but her motives remain opaque to her colleagues. Will she sacrifice her reputation and her morality to explore her darker urges, or will she uphold the justice system that failed her and never held space for her? Interesting. So yes, that one sounds really good. We have Murder Road by Simone St. James. And this one also felt like fall. We have, looks like in this remote wooded area. April and Eddie are driving down this stretch of road late at night, and they see this woman who's in trouble. And they let her in the car, and they don't see the blood before they let her in the car. And then they see these headlights ahead, and they're like, and she's like, I'm sorry, he's coming. Well, her injuries prove to be fatal. Like she passes. Now they're kind of stuck in this town. They're prime suspects, first of all. There's a murder on the loose. There's all these unexplained things happening because this isn't the first time something like this has happened on this stretch of road. To get out of town, they're going to have to drive back along the same stretch of road that they found this girl on. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Next is The Hollow Kind by Andy Davidson. When Nellie Gardner learns that she has inherited a turpentine estate from her long-lost grandfather, she throws everything she can think of in her pickup and flees to Georgia with her 11-year-old son Max in tow. August Redfern's estate is a decrepit farmhouse on 1,000 acres of old pine forest, but Nellie sees it as the perfect refuge, a safe place to hide from her violent husband and the chance for a fresh start. But Max sees what his mother can't. Redfern Hill is no haven. Something lurks beneath the soil, ancient and hungry, with the power to corrupt hearts and destroy souls. And Nellie's return is about to wake it up. So yeah, it sounds nice and creepy. And there's something about this that just screamed fall to me as well. Ghost Eaters by McLeod Chapman. This has been on my list for a while as well. And where the hell is the synopsis? Why do they do this? Why? Let me look up the synopsis because I don't really know. This says, Erin hasn't been able to set a single boundary with her charismatic but reckless college ex-boyfriend Silas. When he asks her to bail him out of rehab, again, she knows she needs to cut him off. But days after he gets out, Silas turns up dead of an overdose in their hometown of Richmond, Virginia, and Erin's world falls apart. Then a friend tells her about Ghost, a new drug that allows users to see the dead. Want to get haunted? He asks. Grieving and desperate for closure with Silas, Erin agrees to a pill-popping seance, but the drug has unfathomable side effects, and once you take it, you can never go back. Ooh, a seance? That sounds really creepy. This cover looks really creepy too. Super creepy. Masters of Death by Olivie Blake. And also, look how pretty this is. I love this edition of it. I think it's gorgeous. It's so stunning. I mean, it's really, really pretty. It's signed. I love it so much. I'm not even gonna try to sum this one up because it's like a lot to explain. Viola Merrick is a struggling real estate agent and a vampire, but her biggest problem currently is that the house she needs to sell is haunted. The ghost haunting the house has been murdered, and until he can solve the mystery of how he died, he refuses to move on. Fox DeMora is a medium, and though is also most definitely a shameless fraud, he isn't entirely without his uses, seeing as he's actually the godson of death. When Viola seeks out Fox to help her with her ghost-infested mansion, he becomes inextricably involved in a quest that neither he nor Vi expects or wants. But with the help of an unruly poltergeist, a demonic personal trainer, a sharp-voiced angel, a love-stricken reaper, and a few high-functioning creatures, Vi and Fox soon discover the difference between a mysterious love lost and an annoying dead body isn't nearly as distinct as they thought. Doesn't that sound so fun? It's not rated really as high as I would have expected on Goodreads, but I've really loved Olivie Blake's other books, so I'm gonna give it a try. Plus, it sounds like a freaking blast. And then the final one, and this is a chunky book because this is 2 books in one because it's a duology, and that is The Girl in the Corn duology by Jason Offutt. And like I said, this is 2 books in one. This is The Girl in the Corn and The Boy from Two Worlds in one big fat chunky book, and that's why it's so chunky. And like the cover is cool. It's got everything. Where did I get this? I don't even remember. Oh, this is from Twisted Retreat. But I mean, it's got that, it involves cornfields. So, I mean, it doesn't get much more fall than that. Young Thomas Cavanaugh's life changes the morning he sees a fairy in his mother's garden. When it then appears in his room, he realizes something unfortunate. His mother and father are wrong. The fairy real, too real. Years later, the fairy leads Thomas into a cornfield on his family's Northwest Missouri farm to face an enemy he can't understand and barely survives. Burdened by the horror of the events in the corn, Thomas enters a mental hospital where he meets Jillian, a girl who seems oddly familiar, and Bobby, a menacing boy. Later, as a young adult flitting from relationship to relationship, dead-end job to dead-end job, he discovers he was right. He knows Jillian, and Bobby is dangerous, deadly dangerous. As Bobby summons the entity from the corn to rid himself of his lifelong role as victim, and Jillian convinces Thomas to stop him, the couple travel from dimension to dimension, witnessing the destruction wrought by the entity from the corn. When Thomas and Jillian finally return, they go to war with Bobby and this ancient devil. But are they too late to save the people they love? The Girl in the Corn is a rural horror novel for fans of Joe Hill and Jonathan Mayberry. And then, there's part 2 after that. But yeah, sounds incredible. I'm all about it. Anything involving a cornfield in the fall just sounds like perfection. And that's all of them. That is my fall TBR. They sound like a lot of fun. Let me know down in the comments, what are you most excited to read this fall? I would love to know. And let me know if there's anything I need to add to my TBR. I will see you on Friday. Bye for now.